Hi, welcome to the first lesson of Acorn Art class. My name is Isabelle and this is one half of the first lesson, so make sure to watch the other half, expression portion, after this video. Now, did drawing ever intimidate you? Maybe you see something you want to draw or an example and you just wonder, where do I even start? This might even lead to a point of feeling stuck and unable to even hold the pencil, and I coined the term intimidation paralysis to describe this moment. But the good news is that it really doesn't have to be so hard. Actually, it can be quite simple. If you see a subject and if you're just thinking, where do I even start? You can start with these three things. Every subject actually boils down to either a form of a circle, square, or triangle. What shape could you designate to this apple? Circles. Okay, if that was easy, how about this? I see an oval, a form of a circle, rectangle, a form of a square, and a lot of triangles. You can apply this technique and trick to anything. Now this is a little harder, but it's okay. I believe in you. You can do this. I'll give you a second, okay? Now this is how I would break it down. One step further, we're gonna try this human hand. It's a lot more pieces, yes, but there is still a form of circle, square, and triangle. Now, once again, you can decide how complex you want this to be. If you want it more detailed and realistic, you can break it down very small. But if you want a simple sketch, you are totally fine with a few good pieces. Now I'm going to do a little bit more detailed, smaller breakdown of this for a more realistic drawing, and this is how it would look like. Okay, now that we got that done, are you ready for the ultimate test? Bam. Bam. So here I printed out a picture of the objectively best dog in the world, which is a beagle. We all agree, correct? Okay, let's move on. So I'm gonna start by doing this in real life by drawing. I got a red pen because it's the easiest to distinguish, and I'm gonna start making shapes. So let's see. The first one I can see, I think we all see, is his head is kind of like a circle, huh? So I'm gonna, that's it, or an oval at this point, a slight oval. I can see his beak, or beak? What is he? He is a dog. His beak would be like, his mouth would be like, I would say it's a square with little triangles. Remember, you can, there's not one right way to break it down. You can break it down as you see it. So this is just my version of it, but feel free to take your own interpretation. So for his tail, I see a rectangle. And for his legs, I also see rectangles. This leg, I see more of a triangle. This leg, a rectangle, or a trapezoid, and another rectangle, or a trapezoid. And then his body could all, for me, I see a square here. And then I see like a kind of like a trapezoid style. So it would be rectangle here, and like a trapezoid here. So I think the furthest I'm gonna go from a circle, square, triangle is a trapezoid of this sort. But even if you don't want to do that kind of trapezoid and you want to stick with just the three, you can just split it into two and make two triangles. So actually let's do that here. And then at the head, I'm also gonna add an oval for his ear. So now that we broke him down to little blocks, I'm gonna transfer this over to a pencil and paper. And this is when we do freehand, but I don't want you to be scared, okay? I'm right here with you. I'm holding your hand. We're in this together. So I'm gonna just first start off by doing the circle of his head. And it's better to go a little light with this, but I'm gonna make it darker so that you can see better. But if you're doing this on your own, I would recommend going on with a light hand. And then here, we had a little square-ish thing, and triangle, oval, and then his body, And then his 2 legs. And then his body, again, kind of a narrow trapezoid. Or you can also break it into triangles. Another trapezoid, or once again, break it into triangles. Here's another one, same deal. And then rectangle with triangle, big triangle, and his little tail. So there you can see the basic form. And if you guys do it on your own, it's going to be lighter, so it's going to be easier to draw over. And now what we do is we kind of connect the shapes together so it looks like an actual puppy. Because right now we have a robo puppy, but we're going to connect it together. So what I would do is, I'll go over with a pen so it's more distinguishable for us. For this, I'll probably, and it's always good to look back and forth to the reference photo. Never just stick with your drawing. Always look back and forth. I look back probably every like 4 seconds, or every time I make a mark, I look back. So there will be this, and then there'll be his little mouth, and then just basically connecting. We kind of have the base form for us already, so it's almost like a skeleton of some sort. And there we have the beagle. I would say this is just still a very rough sketch. If you want to make it a lot more accurate, because this is still a very loose sketch, if you want to make it a more realistic version, I would recommend breaking down the shapes even further. Like, you see these little shapes are a lot smaller than the bigger ones, but even smaller than this, if you really want to make it accurate and more realistic, that is, I would say, the best way to go at it. Like you see over here, if we wanted to, at this point, we could even go further, where it's, this is a triangle, this is a little triangle, this is a rectangle, this is a little triangle. Like, all this could be broken down even further. It's just a matter of how complex you want it to be. So do it at your not, I wouldn't say skill level, do it at your needs and want level. So this is what I got from my basic skeleton, but you guys can take it even further, because I believe in you. I believe in your spirit and hands. So yeah, here was an example of how I would use that shape method in real life to practice. And once again, the goal is to eventually get to a point where you don't have to rely on the shapes every time, and kind of training your eye so that you can identify the shapes without tracing them. But of course, there's nothing wrong with starting with tracing, or even going later on when you work on your stuff. There's nothing wrong with using this method. It's just it makes it more convenient when you get to a level where you can just see it and kind of identify the shapes and then freehand it. But this is a great exercise to practice along the way, or even when you want to retrain. So yeah, that's how I would practice this exercise. I would print out a photo of your subject, get probably like a bright marker, preferably red, trace over into shapes to the dimension or the level of shapes you want, whether that's super detailed or very basic, and then transfer over and freehand those shapes onto paper, your sketchbook. And then on top of that freehand shapes, you can put in the actual body of the drawing. Now, I recommend you to practice this over and over with whatever you see, and our goal is to get to a point where you do this without even thinking. Now, I hope you enjoyed the fundamental portion to the first lesson. Make sure to check out the other half, the expression portion, where I show you how to get better at expressing and translating your feelings and emotions into a visual matter. Subscribe for more future content, and lastly, practice, repetition, and consistency will take you further than any secret recipe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!